Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Collectors with Cards, drinking coffee. Today, kind of make a little sound there. Today, we have someone I'm a big fan of, one of the OG PokeTubers. That's my impression of them. Can you do that for us, by the way, before we get started?
I would do it right at the beginning.
Yeah, just do it right now.
YouTubers.
Hey, PokeTubers. Today we have the dynamic duo from Personal Pokedex. What's going on, guys? We got Al and Tort. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Very good.
Fantastic. This is my first duo podcast. I did loot box, but I only had Juice on back in the day. So we'll see how this one goes. But for those that don't know, I've talked about kind of my original people watching back on YouTube when I first got in that brought me into Pokemon. There was Gemmit Pokemon was a big influence. There was a SGC or something. I forget what his full name was. Primetime Pokemon, of course. And then I discovered the Personal Pokedex, who just started back up their YouTube, right? You guys are hitting 4K subs here soon?
Yeah, we're coming real close. We kind of going full bore back on YouTube in the last 6 months, and really the last 2 months. I think we're doing a video every single day right now. So
that's a lot more motivation than I have. But these guys kind of what's really cool about them. You're a duo, obviously, but you guys did kind of vlog style Pokemon videos back in the day, and you got a few specific ones I want to dive into later. But I want to get to know you guys a little bit first. So, tell us your story about back in 1999. Were you guys together? Were you guys individual then? When did the friendship come? We'll dive into it. Let's start at the beginning. 1999. Yeah. Where were you guys? Where'd you grow up?
So I was 9. Tor, you probably 8, maybe.
8.
He's a year younger than me. So we didn't know each other at that point. I lived in Hatfield, Pennsylvania, and I remember, watching the show and Pokemon coming out at the mall, the big card launch event. So we went to that, and with my parents, obviously I can't drive to the mall at 9 years old. And I remember opening my first base set pack, pulling a Clefairy Hollow, and taking a picture with a giant Pikachu display, but like a big picture of Pikachu. And I have it on a floppy drive, and I dug it out of my parents' house probably a couple years ago, and I've yet to buy like a floppy drive converter to get this gym mint picture of me with a giant thick boy Pikachu with my bowl cut or whatever at 8 or 9 years old. So that's what I distinctly remember. I don't know exactly what year I met Tor, but it was not until high school when he transferred from another school.
He was the new kid.
He was the new kid. Long shaggy hair, all of us soccer players. That's how we met, with the long wild hair. You probably can, in the videos, very first videos, there might be some with Tor with super long shaggy hair that he had back then. But I'd say the PokeTubing came 5 years after our friendship started, maybe 6.
All right. Well, Tort took a step out. I think his AirPods died. So in 1999, you got in the base set. Wait, you were 9 years old then, so you're like early 30s then, right? No, you're 29.
I just turned 30.
Just turned 30. Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you.
So, how deep did you get into Pokemon back in the day? Were you? I mean, most of us were just kind of making up our own rules, playing the game, but mostly just collecting. I made it through the gym series. How deep did you get into Pokemon back then?
I was a similar, if you want to call it, childhood exit point of gym. So my dad was a big flea marketer and collector. And so I've always gone to flea markets with him when I was in my childhood. So he, even though he wasn't big on it, he still set goals for what we were doing. So we basically go to flea markets every weekend, buy packs. And I think I ended up with the first 4 sets in first edition, all bindered up. And then all my stuff that wasn't in order. So he helped me put it all in order. We'd go around and try to pull the cards we needed. And then I think, the big card I always needed was Charizard, and I think he paid $50 for the first edition base set Charizard for me to complete my set when I was a kid.
Wow. So your dad just he had that collector mentality and understood what was going
Mm-hmm.
on. That's huge. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of it back then because my dad's a big collector, and but he never really pushed or like went for Pokemon with us. It was he was pushing coins on us and sports cards and whatnot. So he didn't have that mentality towards Pokemon. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, obviously, anime you were into. What were you, red or a blue guy for the video game?
I think I was a blue guy.
Okay,
I've always been the color blue. I'm a Cowboys fan, so my room was blue, just everything blue.
from
So
from PA. What you went down to Florida or Georgia? Where are you from now?
I'm from Oklahoma, but I've lived in
Oklahoma.
PA probably since I was 7.
Okay,
So
and
pretty much that's my roots.
you're
And
a Cowboy fan. That's weird.
well, they don't have a pro team, so it
Okay,
kind of
okay,
works out that way.
you got to choose. Um,
Hmm.
well, we'll get some information on Tort once he gets back in here. Um, so, did you when you exited Pokemon? Did you go into a different card game, or did you completely drop the nerd stuff and start playing sports?
Mm, so I think I just exited because it just like died down. Like our school banned Pokemon cards,
Mm.
so you couldn't bring them in anymore. And I remember Fossil was out, and I had a bunch in my pocket, and like the teacher, someone told me for having them, and the teacher like asked for my cards. And of course, being a slick third grader, I just gave her like the back half of the pile out of my pocket, like all the commons and commons, and
Nice.
then she never gave them back. So
Oh.
I had a bunch of hollows and all that in my pocket, getting all crinkled and scratched. And yeah, once they got banned at school, it just kind of died down for a couple years. And then, early middle school, Yu-Gi-Oh started becoming a thing, and that one we actually like played the game. Where
Hmm.
Pokemon, nobody played in elementary really. So yeah, and I just did Yu-Gi-Oh, and then at some point in my adult life, picked back up with Pokemon.
Okay. Um, so no magic, no none of that deeper stuff. Dragon Ball Z. I'm a huge
Uh,
Dragon Ball Z guy. I'm trying to build up an inventory here, but
I do see it in the background. Was admiring it when you were away from the computer there. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball back when I was a kid. Like played the video games.
hmm.
I had Magic cards. Didn't really know how to play. We'd
Okay.
always just try to collect the high powered ones. But probably in like middle school and maybe like the very beginning of high school, I played Magic. I just kind of got tired of the people that were in Magic, so I
Hmm.
just stopped. There was
Yeah.
just some characters that I don't know. They were older than me, and then they would just act so weird with the kids that are younger than them. Like this just seems weird to me, so I just kind of fell off playing that.
Hmm.
But I would do booster draft tournaments with my friends. Like we just buy like 3 boosters each and pass them. Be like 5 or 6 of us, and I would just give them all the cards when we were done.
Hmm.
It was like $20, and that was basically it. So.
Yeah, that's fun. I picked that up like later in life with my brothers. We would just do buy a box randomly and do drafts. Um, yeah, I was the same way as a kid in Magic. I was just following my older brother, but I just was like into the dragons, like the high powered dragon cards. So I was just like
Hmm.
collecting those and making a really shitty deck out of it. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of kept that nerd side of me almost like throughout my whole life, but it just like dwindled down to such a little amount as I got into high school and in
Hmm.
college was like kind of completely gone because I didn't have any money or time to do anything.
Yeah.
But um, so you started your Pokemon YouTube channel, Personal Pokedex. You said what, 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah. Our first upload, our channel opening was February 9th, 2013.
Sport's got the poor man AirPods. I got the wires on now. um, so yeah, Tort had to step out for a second because we had some feedback once the AirPods died. But yeah, Tort, let's get a little bit of your story as well. Um, Al said that you guys met in high school and didn't know each other back in '99. Were you in PA as well and just switched kind of like districts, or did you move from a faraway place?
I was in PA. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, a couple like an hour away, and I don't know. My parents wanted to move because I have 3 other siblings, so our house is kind of small. So we moved to that area where Al lived. and when I was in 8th grade. But before that, I was collecting Pokemon back there with a bunch of other kids, and I remember trading cards at recess and doing that kind of stuff. But I didn't like. I would go to a couple stores. My parents would get me like a pack here and there, but I never collected like a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I just tried to build the sets. That was like my goal, and then I would try and trade at recess with other kids, and my siblings. I try and trade with them and help them build sets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I was the
I know
same
how
way.
dad took them. I know his dad took him to flea markets and stuff to get packs and that, and I wish like my parents did that because I never got to do that.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I got 2 older brothers. The oldest one, uh, he was probably a couple years older than Al. He was more conscious of what was going on, so he was completing the base set. He was building decks and like doing that stuff, and me and my other brother were just like following what he was doing, but just like collecting the shiny cards. And I think
Yeah.
I tried to collect as many Charmanders as I could, and I had like 57 or something because I would just trade all my cards to everybody for them. So I don't know what happened to all those, but yeah, I was the same way. Like a couple packs here and there when we'd go wherever because they sold packs at every store. But
Yeah.
yeah, not a huge collection. Uh, I mean, what was your last set then? Did you get all the way into Neo by any chance, or were you kind of
No.
typical ending at Gym?
I'm trying to think. I collected a little bit of Neo. I remember getting a Typhlosion Hollow, and that was like the last part of like my childhood collection. Like that's the last stuff I used to collect. And I remember trading that card with my cousin and then getting some other Neo stuff. But that was like that was it. And then I stopped and grew up, and I don't even know what happened to that childhood collection. I had a couple cards, but the rest of it I probably gave to my siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you actually, on the channel, Tort submitted a few of his sister's cards that she kept this whole time, his younger sister.
Yeah, so my younger sister, I was like, hey, these cards are like kind of getting a little valuable, and I know that you collected and kept yours in good condition. So I was like, if you have anything, FaceTime me and let me see what you have. And she showed me a couple cards. I was like, wow, like stuff that me and Al used to buy like 6 years ago that we used to grade. And I'm like, you should grade some of these cards. So
What did she have?
An Alakazam Gold Star,
Oh,
which the Gold Star stuff was so cool. I remember Al getting a ton of those back in the day, and those were like some of the sweetest, unique cards I've ever seen. And then the Shining Steelix, and just some base set hollows.
She had a lot of EX series hollows.
Oh yeah, she had some EX, Typhlosion EX.
that she was
like
like buying on her own, or that she had from when you guys were buying, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and just kind of like passed
No,
along.
like from her
From
childhood.
her
So she's like
Oh,
what,
okay.
probably 3 or 4 years younger.
Yeah, she is 4 years younger than me.
So she was collecting after you stopped, and made it into those sets that are, the print is very low on a lot of those sets, and she was one of the kids still going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff happening now with those Gold Star era sets. I don't think people realize yet what the price point is of those sealed boxes, but it's astounding.
Yeah.
And those Gold Stars, I've never really paid attention to Gold Stars. I bought my first one like 2 weeks ago, and then I bought the Play Promo Umbreon, and I already sold it. But I think Gold Stars, or at least those sets in general, are going to be blowing up real soon. I know they're huge already, like $30,000 for a PSA 10 Charizard or Rayquaza, but I think it's going to go crazier. And I don't know if I should be worried about that or what, but it's going to be nuts.
It's just pricing some of those boxes seems impossible. Like I had it the Oxus box, and I think I got it right at the end of the channel. And I don't even know if it's in the last time I posted a sealed collection video when I had the sealed collection, which we'll obviously get there. But
Yeah.
I think rumored now they're like projecting like 80K on the Deoxys box seal, which is, I don't think anybody's, going to go out on a limb and price it and be the first one. It feels like everyone's just, if anyone who has it who wants to sell is just waiting to see if anyone else will pull the trigger to put it out there.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because the EV on those sets is nothing right now. So something's got to correct, and I don't know what's going to happen, if the boxes are going to go down or if those EXs and those hollows are going to shoot up 100 times. So.
They finally pulled up a little bit, probably in the last, like everything has. Like your reverses, I graded those reverses from the sets for years, and they'd be like $1, and I'd sell them for like 25, 30 and a 10. But now the prices people want some for those Team Rocket ones, even in reverse, they want $50, $60, $70, $80 raw, you know, and it's getting there. But yeah, your EV is not ever going to be, you know, equated to what the price of these boxes are in terms of what you actually get, because you get like what, maybe like 2 or 3 X's in a box, it seems like, from the recent ones I've watched. And the gold stars are not guaranteed, as we know.
Right, I think that's like 1 and 2 from what people say. Boxes, that is. But yeah, we were gonna hop into your start with becoming the first PokeTuber. Sorry, I like to make fun of that.
Dude, people send me messages just throughout the day, and they just say the word, or send me a voice message and just say, "What's up, PokeTuber?" and I just send them back. It's all day long. I
start charging for that, whatever that app's called. You can.
It could be your text tone for 99 cents. You know?
Yeah. So you guys were one of the original Pokemon YouTubers that I watched. You know, I think I first heard of you of the disaster video, which we'll get to. But how did that start? I mean, how did you guys meet?
So, you know, after high school, Tor and I still hang out, and I was buying like electronics and mostly like video games used, you know, flipping like N64 games, GameCube games. And that market was just so saturated already on like Craigslist and flea markets. People were just nuts, like, you know, trying to find those games and flip them. So I just started trying it on cards, and it seemed like, all right, this is a way less competitive market space, and I can be the first to the stuff, you know, if flea markets are on Craigslist and people don't know what they have. Because where you see Pokemon at now, in probably the last couple of years, is where video games have been for a long time. Like you went on Craigslist, and this person's like, "Oh, I want $50 for Super Smash Brothers," because they know what it was. But then you went and looked at Charizards on Craigslist or your, you know, whatever marketplace you were using back then. People didn't know. So I just slowly moved into that, and I was telling Tor about it. And he's like, "Why don't we just film this and put it on YouTube?" Because he's already been doing YouTube with tech stuff for 3-4 years. You guys had
4 years before, probably 2009, 10.
Yeah, and you had a lot of success there, and I think Tort's personal channel has what, like 10,000 subs.
Yeah, which I don't right now. I don't upload. I focus more with Al on this because this is what excites me. But prior, 10 years ago, I was doing tech videos, iPod jailbreaks, like, you know, all that stuff that was popular back then.
The jailbreaks.
Are you doing video stuff like for your main job, or?
Oh no! I work in construction, mainly, but that stuff excited me back then. The video game stuff. I remember when Al was buying those N64s, and I still collect old video games. I have a bunch of that stuff, boxed N64 games. So like the stuff he was doing, I was still involved in a little bit. But then the Pokemon stuff, I was like, we should film this.
And that's what we did. And you can kind of see it in our first videos, just like turn the camera on and let's make it action. When you said we're the first vlog channel, we didn't think of it like that at all.
I mean, I was extremely jealous of it right away, and still would love to do something like that today, but need, you know, that second guy and someone who knows how to handle the camera a little bit, at least, to make that happen. Because I mean, the stuff, a lot of us, you know, myself, you know, especially like PokeRev and Cool Trainer Ryan, if we had filmed like 10% of what we've done, and like our finds, our buys, and all that stuff, it would have created such incredible content. And I mean, just watching you guys do it from back then, I mean, it was just super cool to see those interactions and the stuff you were picking up. And now, I mean, obviously looking back at it now, it's like just mind blowing what you were buying things for. I mean, you just, I know you've been reposting some of the old videos, and you just reposted that huge like box find with all the theme decks and the open boxes. Like, I remember seeing that when it first came out, and I was just like shocked. I mean, even at the time, you got an incredible deal on it.
Yeah, we walked into one there. Like,
were you buying most of your stuff on eBay, or was it everywhere? What was like the main place for you guys getting all that stuff?
So a lot of it was eBay. Like our most popular video is Tort unboxing a first edition base set Charizard in a little collectible box,
a fossil box.
And back then on eBay, people put up just a lot of like, here's a box with stuff. So that 2016 deck one you mentioned had the theme decks on top, and like he took all the stuff out, and it was really speculation on what was going to be in there, but it was $125 buy it now. So I was like, those theme decks alone toward buy it. Like the market, now you go on eBay and refresh, it says 7,000 people viewed this in the last hour, and it's been up for 30 seconds. So I mean, those opportunities went away over time, but that's like, if you bought it within 15, 20 minutes, you could find deals like that. But we also, we've Western Union people money across the country to mail stuff. We drove all over Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
I PayPal gifted this lady who had tons of boosters. And at that time, I was competing with the Charizard Authority to try to get her stuff. And he eventually got all her stuff out from under me when I was buying from her. She was in PA local. We have a really great vlog you might have seen. I spent the summer up at a lake for work. And this guy down the street had Pokemon. So we were doing Pokemon. Like, this guy over the summer, he has like every card ever made. He was the kind of make a binder. And we vlogged it driving up there. And we got there, and he's this little, different guy. He didn't want to break up his sets, but he had no idea about pricing. He wanted like tons of money for stuff that wasn't worth money. And then we walked out with the 2 Crystal Charizards and a bunch of EXs and Crystal Lugias and all that. And so we've done it in all different ways. The exciting ways of finding it is achievable more, especially if you're not going on the big scale of buying out like a storage locker or buying a big collection. So it's a lot harder, but I mean, that we've pretty much been everywhere for buying stuff. But
yeah, it's kind of impossible now, like you said, to do a channel like that, because those finds just don't exist anymore. Like, there's no way to stay consistent with it. If you get lucky, like once or twice a month, you could probably do something, but you also have to have a big bank account to make that happen now too, which is just crazy. But so with the Pokemon channel, what were your intentions at first with Pokemon? Were you guys finishing up your own personal sets? Were you doing it as a side hustle? What was the intention when you first started?
I mean, we were flipping a little bit. It was kind of, I don't know if there's like an official word for this, but it's like, make money to pay for your hobby. I'm sure there's some term that Webster needs to define, but we would sell enough to pay for what we wanted to keep, right? So that was kind of the goal, just to make this a net zero, make videos, have fun, and not really have to spend all of our own money on it.
So were you, with how much you were diving into it, did you ever kind of break that rule and start spending too much money, or were you guys being pretty cautious about it? How good are you with your budget back then?
Well, I definitely worked a lot back then. So even though I was in college, I busted in the summers, and so I definitely spent more than I ever would make. But even back then, that whole time, sealed stuff consistently kept going up, almost regardless of what it was. It did increase over time. PSA has had its up and downs. So what I would consistently do, like we would say, like Tor would buy his stuff, I would buy mine, and you probably can't see it on the channel as much, but like we always had it like this box was a split between us. We'd go in and split it half. So when we would split something, it would be, all right, we're selling it all and split the profit. But then Tor had his videos where he bought stuff and I had my videos. But that's kind of how we do everything on the channel. Either it's split it and sell it, or make a video of it, you're keeping it, it's your personal, your personal collection stuff.
Gotcha. So you had a nice break. Tor, what did you have your eye on mostly back then? Were you doing? I know Al had a lot of sealed product. What did you have?
I was making fun. I remember I was super into the theme decks. So the sealed theme decks that like you saw in that big box you got, the $125 box. But I was getting individual, like the Lockdown, the Water Blast, those boxes for $30-$35 sealed. And Al would always give me a hard time, and I'd get them, and I'd be like, I like these decks. They remind me of when I was a kid, and they were sealed product for Wizards of the Coast. So like it was something I like kept dear to my heart, and I wanted to keep. So like that stuff I bought and kept, and like I love keeping stuff. I kept bulk, and Al always gives me like a hard time for keeping bulk. I keep everything. I love everything. So.
He's a never sell kind of guy. Other than what we split, I don't know. The only thing you ever sold was the worst thing you could.
Yeah, the worst.
A true collector. What was it?
Tell them what you sold and when you sold and how much.
Oh, it was I think it was 3 years ago, I tell the story to everyone, but 3 years ago, I sold the first edition Charizard PSA 7 for $850. And now it's up 15K.
I sold a BGS 9.5 Charizard that I opened myself in February for 12,500. It's worth 125 now.
Yeah, so that's pretty.
We've all done it. That's not even that's not
And
even that bad, dude.
I just make fun because I'm like, you could have sold a Theme Deck. You could have sold, if you needed the money, sell something else. But you sold the one that has the best chance to,
So now, like, I regret that, and I'm never selling anything ever.
Yeah.
All the stuff I buy.
I still haven't learned. I'm still selling stuff I shouldn't be selling. But dang, yeah, it's tough, man. Going through all that stuff is looking back is awful. And I mean, it's probably harder for Al because what happened in the past for you wasn't your decision. It was just an unfortunate event. So let's dive into this real quick. I know it's gonna be painful for you.
People are tired of hearing about it. It's like the story I'd be at a party and be like, let me tell you about my loss.
I've ever since I saw this video, and this is the video that introduced me to you guys. I've always wanted to talk to you about it. Even when I started my podcast at first, I was like, I gotta have this guy on here to talk about it. So I've never really I've never listened to the story from you, and I want to hear about it. For those that don't know, is the video still up on YouTube? It is, right?
So the video that was made was by Trainer Tony. My buddy made it, highlighting the information. The only stuff we ever posted on it was on my Instagram. There's some clips and just some joke videos of us. Just opening the lost packs and pulling Crystal Lugia out of just one pack and stuff. So Trainer Tony's gym, I think, has it on his channel. So that's where a lot of people saw it. I obviously wasn't jumping the gun to one of, hey, let's go ahead and film this and get it online. That wasn't my first move, really. I did put it on Instagram, was heated, but
well, tell us about the story and how. Let's start with how it led up to it. So you were how far was this along the building up of the collection and doing the YouTube? Because this was
3 years in.
3 years in. And from watching your videos in the past, you were building up a sealed collection of boxes and packs. And it was impressive. And then this popped up. You stored your boxes in what, one of those big plastic tubs?
Yeah, the moving tubs, probably 2 or 3 feet deep. 2.5 foot deep. So basically took all my PSA profits, most of them, from the most, not the high end cards, but would put that back in the sealed, because I knew one thing quantity goes up, the other one quantity only goes down, right? PSA, even though people are hoarding it, quantity can only still go up, right? Unless people start destroying the cards. So I would put all my money in sealed. So basically, we always did our poke tubing down in the basement at my parents' house. In Pennsylvania, everybody has basements. Most of them have sump pumps because of groundwater. When I was a kid, the basement has a little bit of water in it. We added a backup pump, alarms, all that stuff. So I bought the house for my parents in fall of 2015 because they were moving back to Oklahoma. I, eventually planned to make a whole room designated to this Pokemon stuff, since I had a whole house to myself, 3-bedroom, full size family house. And my dad decided, while I was traveling for work, I would work long-term remote, in Pittsburgh area, that he was going to get the sump pump replaced, right? And so I came home for a weekend. This is the first weekend I'm home from work after actually we signed all the papers in September, and this is October 15th maybe, so 2 weeks to the flooded basement, right? So I don't know, his buddy did it on a Tuesday, and I maybe came home on Friday, and the new pump he put in never worked. Which, if you don't have an active sump pump, water's just going to rise from the little hole they make in the basement and flood your basement. And the backup was never reconnected or whatever reason, right? So walked down, took in that, scene, and noticed that the box that I kept all the stuff in was on the floor and flipped over. And at that point, it may have been sitting like that for a day, 2 days. And
So
The box.
the water had to be 3 feet high, right? At
Well,
some
you would
point.
think that, but it could have been. But if that water never went back down, uh, that water was never high enough to actually like
Go.
pour into the top.
Mm-hmm.
So the water somehow displaced this box and flipped it on its side. So the water was mostly like filled up in there,
Mm-hmm.
where all of it was wet basically. And so like I mean, either the water was higher or just bad luck that the thing tipped over. I mean, this box probably weighed like 50 to 80 pounds. I mean, it had tons of Game Boys in it, like all the boxes you've seen on the channel.
Yeah. What was in it?
What was in it?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of Quaplus boosters, 2 sets of the gym boosters.
First edition.
Yeah, first edition. Let's see what else we had.
Did you have a Sky?
2
Sky
Jungle,
Ridge?
2 Rocket, 2 Fossil, 2 base sets. EX Deoxys is in the video.
These are sealed boxes.
These are all sealed boxes. So on top of that was all the loose packs that I've ever bought or opened. I probably had 30, 40 Aquapolis packs and Neo Rev first editions. All my blisters like Sky Ridge Legendary Collection. I had a few of those. So it was all my boosters, all my blisters, all my loose packs, weighed or unweighed, whatever it was, all my Game Boys, pretty much everything but bulk and PSA cards was in this box. Which, looking back on it, not the best place to have it, but I've gotten in many fights with my dad. I'm like, you literally, did the dumbest thing you could do. You didn't tell anybody. He didn't check it twice, and you hired your buddy who we couldn't hold him accountable for anything, So not only was it that, the basement was ruined. I had to, Tor was helping pull carpet and pull ceiling and cut drywall. Like, it was an expensive undertaking just starting out owning a home. So the whole thing together just kind of put a big damper on the Pokemon excitement for me.
So how much money did you put into that, and what was it worth? Do you remember?
So at the time, we estimated it was about $15,000 worth of stuff.
Okay.
I probably guesstimated between 3 and 5 of my own money put into it, and the rest was just putting profit back into the system. Now, I think last year I was like 200 or like 100 something, and I think today you probably could call it. It's got to be over $500,000.
Oh,
it's $500,000 because if the Deoxys is rumored at 80 and you've got your Aquapolis at like 30, 35, and those gym first editions are pulling down 20 to 30 each, right? So
300,000-400,000.
And I got an expedition in there, and then all the blisters, like some of the blisters, Legendary Collection blister and Sky Ridge blisters, like those.
I forgot you had a bunch of those.
Yeah.
I watch the videos sometimes, if I just want to make it painful myself. Yeah. My last sealed collection video has pretty much everything in there.
I remember going there when you called me to come over and seeing that box and then Al grabbing a pack and squeezing water out of it. And, I just felt sick. And, at that time, $15,000 is still a lot of money. But now you think of it, it's like $300,000 to $400,000 worth of product in that box that every time we think about it or talk about it, I just, can't believe it.
I sold, so I made the decision myself to sell things earlier this year, and I've missed out on probably that much money just in this 8-month period. But it's different with something that you had no control over. It was just a freak accident like that. It's crazy. It's one of the craziest stories. I mean, it'll continue to be one of the craziest stories as the market continues to go up. I remember him squeezing one of those packs and the water coming out, and you pulled a Crystal Lugia. I don't know what else, but
we tried to dry stuff off. I remember opening packs that we thought were salvageable.
Yeah. So we opened all the boxes best we could, and we shook the packs, right? So if the card slid, we said no water, right? So I think we saved 88 packs out of all the boxes, and it was like base 2, mostly jungle for some reason, and it may just be the way they were elevated in that thing tipped over. My Crystal Guardians box, which was sealed, that was complete sealed. That was $45 if you want to talk about deals back in the day at the flea market. $45 for that and $40 for 26 base set packs this guy had because he had an old store and that's all he had left. So I did open those all in the channel, and that's like basically the dead zone of one of the 2 dead zone periods of the channel is when I was unboxing those, because I did them all in one day, and the videos literally came out like over a year. I just 3 a week, 3 packs of video.
Yeah.
Got some stuff in a graded 10. So like, I mean, I saved some stuff from the flood. I was going to grade the packs, or I was like, I can't sell them, so I either got to grade them or open them. So I decided just to open them and see the consequences of that. And a lot of stuff came back, 9 and 10, first edition jungle and gym heroes and stuff like that. So
wow.
I mean, it was nice to get something out of it in the end, but it was a small percentage of the grand scale of it.
Yeah, and I mean, the enjoyment of opening packs is something you can't beat anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, would you, knowing who you are, would you have sold those boxes before any of this, or do you think you'd still have them today?
I toss it around all the time, because when I'm complaining, my girlfriend says, well, you probably would have just sold them. Like, Quaplus hit $2,000. Why would I have not dumped it then? You know? But there's also something to be said, if we would have just kept going, then I may not have the same collection. I might have more, I might have less, I might have more valuable pieces. Because I think right after that, I just pretty much sold all my PSA cards and dumped everything I could and just put it all in, more stocks and bonds and stuff that no matter what happens, nothing can really go wrong, right? Like, in terms of, it's not a physical asset I have to worry about.
Right. So that crushed you. That stopped you from collecting Pokemon.
It stopped like the channel, really. I mean, besides those videos he released throughout that year, like, we stopped.
So that stopped you too, Tori? What did you do with your stuff? Did you end up selling it too in fear of that happening, or do you still have it?
No, all the stuff from then, like when his collection flooded, I kept at my parents' in their storage room, all elevated, because I was now super nervous that something would happen.
Because you lived in the basement.
My bedroom at my parents' house was in the basement, which was finished and it was nice. But in their storage room, they had these metal like Costco shelves, and I made sure to put it like high up.
Yeah.
Which is going back to my basement quick, because then my dad was a collector. He collects like Fender amps, amplifiers, and guitars. And from the first time our basement flooded, before he had his amps in there, he learned his lesson and built like these little shelves, right, around in the basement. He kept all his amps in there, and that's why I got in a fight with him, like, because I'm like, you never would have changed that if your amps were down there when you weren't home, because the water would have ruined all your amps. And those 60, 70, amps, he probably has like $300,000 or $400,000 worth, even at that time back then. And I just got to fight him, like, your amps would have got ruined too in this scenario of you flooding your basement. But yeah, that was a dead year, 2015 to all of 16. I just sold off like all like the Crystal Charizards, the Rayquaza Gold Star we pulled in the channel, like all that just got sold off for market price. I just invested it in other stuff.
And now, are you pulling that all out and putting it back into Pokemon?
No, not at this point. I've sold some stuff, but not to necessarily buy Pokemon, just to pay other things off instead of, my normal income. A lot of that goes to Pokemon. But I'm not to that point yet, because, we've lived in the pre-2016 and the pre-2019-20 era of the stuff didn't always go up. Especially at this rapid pace. I think if things would have been consistent, maybe even when we started collecting in terms of value going up, we would be at these values if they were consistent, right? And I told you PSA cards went down. Like when we were breaking boxes, first edition 10 hollows and like not base, but other sets would go to $350, and then all of a sudden, like 6 months later, they'd be $75.
Oh wow! And
it, there was a lot of strategy in what we opened and trying to make money. So I've just seen it go up and down, so I'm not going to, sell a relatively safer asset or less speculative asset to do that. But I know somebody who did, and he's looking at me on the screen. And based on what you told me, you've made some moves there to go all in on Pokemon.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but
it's dangerous.
I mean, it is dangerous. I mean, the whole thing is dangerous, right? Because I guess if we were all looking at each other, 2007, say this is 2007, before the actual financial crisis, this is usually the first thing that goes during like an economic recession. Is your sports and your collectibles and your speculative stuff would be the first thing that people sell to stay afloat, right? So.
But it's gone the opposite way. That's why I sold a lot earlier this year, because I saw this coming. I saw the economy, the stock market was going to go down. I even called the exact number it was going to hit. I said like 18.5, that's the bottom. And it hit 18.5, but Pokemon tripled.
Yeah,
So,
so people, when we tell people about Pokemon blowing up this year, it's like, what are the factors? And the tax returns, the stimulus checks, everyone at home, people needing their gambling fix, Gary V, Logan, you and Steve Aoki, all the people contributing to it. But we could do a whole like 2 hours of podcasts on economics. But as long as the Fed just keeps printing money and propping this up, we might not ever actually see the mass unemployment and the mass downturn actually hit people.
mm-hmm.
And now we're in a new level of investor class in Pokemon in a lot of aspects with celebrities where if they don't care what the price is, they want it. That's part of the market that will be pulled up, where I'm sure you've had celebrities that bought sports cards back in those, 2008 and those times when stuff they would buy for whatever. But like, I still think we are susceptible to an actual economic downturn affecting this
Mm-hmm.
in a negative way to people who, are buying to quick flip, and it could hurt people like that, and they've got to sell it. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always fear. I mean, you never want to sell into fear, but as long as you manage yourself well, you should do fine. But yeah, the whole celebrity stuff is going nuts. Um, it's been interesting to be pretty close to it now myself, but yeah, with all the money being thrown around and the conversation of inflation and people wanting to take their money out of cash and put it into something else is another huge factor of why things are going so strong too. Um,
yeah.
So, what did you guys do during the lull then? I mean, you were putting all your money into your house. Tor, what were you doing?
Honestly, I'm partying.
Yeah.
Like, I moved out of my parents and, moved in with a bunch of friends. And I mean, I kept all my collection at my parents' house. And Al still kind of got some stuff here and there, a little bit of stuff. But I completely stopped collecting, really, for like 3 or 4 years, I'd say, after that. 3 years. Um,
So, what brought you
so yeah,
back? What brought you guys back?
So I say like that whole year, when I was just throwing all that Pokemon money into the stocks, I was off of work probably like when construction season was slow, and sometimes things get bored, and it's like, all right, let's look at the Pokemon market again. And then Evolutions came out, which I think you and a ton of other people told me that that was your re-entry point in adulthood into Pokemon was Evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like right as 2016 was ending, 2017 was starting, I really got back into the set of Evolutions and started buying my stuff, doing all the same stuff I was doing, but I wasn't really going hard on any sealed stuff, like newer or old stuff, because I was like, I knew what I paid for it. I don't want to pay what it costs now. So I was just buying like new Japanese Center exclusive stuff and just doing the PSA flipping. I would just buy and grade stuff I liked and sell every single thing. I wouldn't keep a card. And I haven't kept a PSA card until this year, actually, because I wanted to ask you this. This is my reverse interview here. It's like, I'm now at the point this year where if I sell a card, I'm like, I probably won't ever get this card back. And this is the first year that I've ever really experienced that. Not saying that the cards aren't financially possible, but it's just like, I don't ever see myself spending this or more to get this same card back that I'm going to sell it for. So I'm actually like slowly building up a wide array of PSA cards, which I've never really done.
Yeah, I've bought very few PSA cards myself. It's either graded myself or I can honestly count like the number of PSA cards I've bought. I bought a PSA 9 Gold Star Mew. I bought PSA 10 Reverse Crystal Celebi Ho-Oh, a Vince Carter Refractor, and honestly, that might be it. I got my start and built my brand off of sealed product because for whatever reason I just fell into like just masses of it, right? And I had at one point 44 sealed boxes of all of WotC, First Ed, Unlimited. I had cases, and I got to the point where, well, I never cracked to like PSA grade because I entered at a time where it wasn't really viable to make money off of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you guys were in the right time where you were opening up boxes, grading, and you could make money just by getting like one PSA 10, right?
Yeah, I definitely do. I remember
Yeah.
getting the first edition Team Rocket box for $250 sealed,
Yeah.
and a PSA 10 hollow. Those would
it was like we would open that, and then like I said, like 6 months later, more people got in the market, and then the price would go down on those PSA cards. What's weird about that era is base set. Like we never bought a base set box. There were so many of them. The price didn't move up like the other prices. We were chasing the first edition other sets, and we were chasing Aquapolis and Skyridge and those rare sets. And it was like, now it's like, okay, well, base set is, finally eclipsed first edition Jungle and Fossil in terms of like PSA value,
which is nuts
for base unlimited. But yeah, we were at the right time, but there were times where we're like, all right, we can't open this set because this set has went down, or whatnot. But yeah, it's there's been a long period, like you said though, where the EVs weren't worth opening the box or whatever. The sealed value way exceeded what you would pull.
Yeah. Yeah. So my collection always consisted of sealed product and then binder sets, and I would never hold on to PSA cards. If I graded anything, I sold it, and I graded very little. I try to focus all my money in the sealed product. And I got to the point where I started doing breaks on Instagram. I started getting a lot of hate on like my prices, and I was getting scammed on eBay a lot by buyers for like saying packs were resealed and all that stuff when I knew for a fact they weren't, because I was opening them up for boxes myself, like cases myself basically. And I just got sick and honestly scared of what was happening in the community with sealed products. So I tried selling it all out, and I wanted to venture into like Japanese trophy cards. So I moved into that recently. That's kind of why I exited sealed product earlier this year, is to venture into that so I could learn about it, because I already knew anything and everything about English and sealed stuff. And so yeah, I'm kind of that same way now with certain cards that I am not going to sell, especially with my experience with the Charizard. I am not going to sell unless I get well above market, because I'm never getting it back. Like I sold that Charizard, instantly bought a PSA 7 Trophy Kangaskhan, instantly flipped it, regretted it the next day, luckily found another, graded it, and now it's a Beckett 9 that I'm holding on to.
I see that in your featured slot of your eBay store there.
That's right.
I might just buy it, so you have to send it to me. Like you put it up there like Scott always does. He's got it up there for no one's going to buy it, but maybe
someone bought his 10 that after that PWCC auction, because he had. It was funny. He had his 10 up along with Pro Chaos. They had their 10s up for like $100,000, right? And that's when I put my 7 up for 27. It sold. They saw that and lifted their price up to like 125. And then once Colors put his 10 up for auction with PWCC, they just kept increasing it little by little and got it up to like $200,000. And then when an auction sold for 150, Scott got an offer 20 seconds later for 150, sold it. And then I was left there alone with my 9, so I threw it up for 175 because, why not? But yeah, so that's my main focus now is those types of cards. I'm still flipping PSA, grading a ton of stuff, flipping it, doing sealed product where I can. But yeah, it's just so expensive now. I've got that price mind from 2018.
You'll
19,
never shake it. You'll never shake it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I did have like one lucky little stint of when boxes were going up like crazy. I saw first edition boxes at 10K and base set was already 20, 25. I was like, okay, this is stupid. They should not be 10,000. So I bought what I could, and yeah, they went up to 20,000. So nice little quick double net worth on that one. But yeah, it's so tough now to gauge like what to sell and when to sell, and yeah, I'm trying to hold on to some of those special cards, but I know I'll let them go eventually.
Thank you. Grab that. You grab that.
The address is so fucked up.
What is that? Ooh. Is that PSA?
That looks like a PSA box.
Yeah, that's our Charizard, Champion Path Charizards, 2 weeks too late on the price. Might get a live unboxing here on the PokemonRadar podcast.
I just got back. I got PSA return at my parents' house, and then I got a huge CGC return down here that I got to flip through of vending series and something else. A bunch of just Japanese stuff. So I know now that you're back doing your PokeTubing, you started a Discord doing some market talks with your followers. What's that like? What's going on there?
So the Discord, I decided to put it out there like when we rebooted the channel in the spring, and I'd say we got like 50 members originally, and just people kind of came out of the woodwork. They're like, "Yeah, we've been watching you for like 6 years. We're in the Discord." I'm like, "You've never commented on a video." They're like, "Yeah, PokeTubers," and they, I'm like, "What is this?" So like, just like a lot of old fans popping out of it, people that quit Pokemon, they're coming back into it that used to watch the channel, and just a lot of new people too. We're basically just constantly sharing advice and helping other people. And some of those guys in Discord, they're in every Discord, getting all the restock links and all the pre-order links. And if you need something, they can find it. So it's a really great resource. Every channel's got their community kind of built around a Discord or some kind of platform like that. But
I don't. But
well, not yet. But you will. I mean, it's a good way to just put your videos out there too to your main people who really want to watch. We'll click the link or be reminded. And, we allow self-promotion in there. So if anyone wants to drop Cards and Coffee podcast links in our social promotions, you can do that. But we're growing it slow. I've been trying to talk about it more in videos because no matter what links you put below your videos, if you don't tell people constantly about them, they don't look at them, especially being, everybody's watching on mobile now. So that's kind of been coming along nice. I think we're close to 100 people in that Discord.
Yeah, so I could just kind of feed off the teat of E4. That's where I've kind of got my start and been engaged with a lot. So, they were really welcoming and helpful with kind of sharing my stuff as well. But yeah, so what are your intentions now with Pokemon? I mean, you're trying to grow this Discord. You seem to be very, very market focused. At least with your videos. I try to hop into some of the lives that you do. What are you doing? Like, what are your collection goals? What are your business goals? What do you got going on now?
Well, Tort's a never sell, so he's going to continue to grow his, and I think we'll bury him with his Pokemon cards.
Are you still buying theme decks?
I wish not for $500. But, I just actually gave Al like 40 or 50 more first edition just common and uncommons I had from that box I bought for $100. That was like 7 or 8 years ago, and now it's worth it to just grade, even though they're not going to be 9s and 10s, they'll be like 7s and 8s. But I still think first edition base set is a great thing to have PSA and just to hold long term.
Yeah, so, you pay $10 to get it graded, sell them for $25, $30, whatever.
Yeah,
easy or more, whatever cards they are.
Yeah, so I'm holding all that, and the newer stuff's fun. Like with Al, we go to restocks.
Yeah, that's added a new element where some modern product is actually you can make profit, or people trying to find it, or it's not just widely available. Because doing modern on our channel was always, we made the videos, but I'm like, why do people want to watch this modern product that they can walk in the store and get themselves? Yes. And people watched it, but I never felt like the same as opening something older, just because. And then we would just lose money because we didn't make a ton of money off YouTube. So we just grade the 1 or 2 cards we could from the pools and just do whatever with the rest, or build a binder set or just donate the cards. Really, like it wasn't. There wasn't as much Pokemon infrastructure back then in terms of like trading in your bulk or scanning your codes. That didn't exist, that long ago. But when I told myself when I was going to actually like hold stuff and keep a PSA card, that I needed to know the tangible value, and that's why I do like that collection update video I started doing a couple months ago and try to put the price to it so I can actually log it into my total net worth and actually have that. Because before I kept it all in my head, but I said if I'm going to hold stuff, I want to know what I've got and what it's probably worth. So I know when I'm not buying stock and buying this and that, when I'm buying Pokemon, that it can show something for it in terms of tracking that data. So
Yeah, I've been doing a good job of tracking on Excel like since I started. I've been thinking about going through like my sold sheets just for people to see because it's disgusting. What like the prices you sold things at in the past.
yeah.
Um, but I mean you're open with it. What's your collection worth now?
So I think the last update was like 150,000. Um, but what I don't put in there is like any bulk or singles
Mm-hmm.
or anything that is going to PSA or at PSA. So this year we've only gotten back 2 PSA orders. One in the spring that was sent in December, and then the one that we sent in the spring that came back like what, a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I mean we're probably sitting at like over 2,000, 2,500 cards of PSA between us, and I have actually a lot of sports there. So when that all comes back, we'll see where we're at. But now, since the market's going all over the place with some retraces, I'm gonna have to go through the sheet and do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And I need someone to come up with that app to like really track it for me and take out all the shill bids and all the fake listings and say this is what your card's worth, and I can log in every day and check. But it's not there yet. I know people are like working on websites and apps and. So yeah, I don't really have like a number in mind or a collection amount. I just doing it to see where I can get, just kind of like prove to myself that I can like do the same thing I did before. Like the amount of work we put in and I put in to get to that sealed collection that you saw, in terms of like the money put in and the time and just flipping and making all those deals, is like, I don't think I can ever recreate that. And not with actually, cashing out a lot of other assets and just trying to make it. But I don't know.
What about you, Tori?
Recreatable.
Are you keeping track of your stuff, or is it private?
No, I mean, not as well as Al. But I'd say mine's not as big either. Probably like 30 to 40,000.
Well, all theme decks. That's a lot.
All theme decks, all PSA. Now I'm starting to hold sealed, especially going to these restocks. Like I said before, getting Hidden Fates and Champions Path and XY Evolution sealed for retail is great because like I don't have to pay resale value for it, and I can just store it in a tub and put it in my parents' house and forget about it.
Just wait. Yeah.
I think we're finally in that era of you could buy modern and hold it and actually be able to have some profit down the road. On the English side, I've been doing that for Japanese for 6 years on all the Japanese like promo boxes.
Really?
Japanese subsets. Like, yeah, I don't know if you can see back here. I've got like the Pikachu cosplays, the Mario Pikachu stuff from the anniversary, like that stuff that I always would buy just because I'm like, in a year it goes up and it was fun to open and it's exclusive. So I think you're finally going to get some opportunity with the English side to get that. If you see where some of the X and Y boxes are going, some of the Sun and Moon boxes have gone, you actually have the opportunity where when we were collecting back then, black and white, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, just throw that in the trash. Nobody wanted it. We didn't want it. You go to flea markets and just be disappointed that that's what that kid grew up collecting that was selling the cards now. But that same stuff now, if you look at a sealed box of 4 or 5 years ago, like Flash Fire or something, you've got some profit. So I think there are modern opportunities if you're a buy and holder, and you're not going to make your instant profit. But if you want to collect sealed, you can buy new and just start from there. And there's so much more unique product now in terms of like the way they deliver it to us versus the old sets where it's mostly boosters, some theme decks, and a couple promo things, but you're not delivering base set in like 10, 15 different types of boxes like they are the modern sets in some aspects.
I mean, those half sets are great. I hate Champions Path. I canceled almost all I pre-ordered 50 from GameStop. They never came, and I just like ended up canceling it because I just did not want them. But I mean, Charizard Chase, it'll be fine. It'll be a good set to hold.
The ETBs are well crafted. This is the way they look. Like,
they're
hold
beautiful.
a couple of those, you'll be good in a couple of years.
Yeah, they're great. Just sealed display pieces. But yeah, I mean, any of those like half sets. I mean, ETBs are just great value. They're easy to store. Unlike all those other crap that just like takes up so much space.
I complain about those, and Ford has a bunch of these Kanto boxes.
The Kanto boxes,
oh my
those
God.
Jirachi boxes.
Then he brought me the Jirachi boxes. I'm like, you move this the wrong way one time, all your value's ruined because you're just gonna pop this cardboard and make a big dent. Like it's just so much plastic. Like I almost feel bad for the environment because ripping a Champions Path gym box. I'm like, we gotta recycle this. Like this is just give me a booster or some kind of. They're never gonna do it, but you look at Japanese 10-pack promo boosters. Yeah. You just get the packs, no other thrills. Give me what I want, And I wish they would adopt that model here because they're so small. You could stack those suckers up. I got 10 GX Ultra Shiny boxes, like just stacked in a nice little part of the box. Doesn't take up any space. 50, 100 packs of it. Where if I got to stack 100 packs of Champions Path trainer boxes, it's gonna. What's that like? How many boxes? There 5 in there per box. Yeah, 20 of those boxes.
5 packs.
I'll have to buy another house to put all this. Yeah. At that point, though, the value is maybe not even in what's in that promo box. It's just the packs. So just break them down and stack them up, I guess. But
right.
I actually had a couple questions for you because this is going way back to an early reference of like our vlog style. So we never really considered we didn't think of it as like a vlog style in terms of comparing to other PokeTubers. We probably watched like most of our Pokemon knowledge was just like watching other channels. We never were on E4. I didn't know who those people were. I only watched this guy SMG Quest.
SMG Quest. Yes.
And I just watched him from the time that he started selling all stuff to buy a house. And he was like him in Prime Time were the biggest guys that we watched, but we never knew E4, any of those high-end collectors. We were just doing our own thing blindly and meeting other, low-tier PokeTubers like us.
I remember watching other guys that were really small, but it was cool to watch them as well because they were in the same boat as us. So.
And then people would say the same thing. Like later on, they'd like, "Oh yeah, I loved watching your channel because it was like I was there, or it was a vlog, and you guys were together." And we never really looked at our channel. We're like, yeah, well, people come here and hang out with us together as feel like a group. And it seems like that's the content that most people like. I don't know if it's lack of people in their personal life, like they're the only ones that are into Pokemon and they don't have anybody to like experience it with. And it seemed like that was the biggest draw of our channel, but we never were like, yeah, let's make more of these vlogs or market it. And you made the comment that's what you enjoyed about it. So
well, and you guys have real personalities too. A lot of that back in the day was just pack openings. No camera, no face cam, very, very just stagnant, plain personalities going through this stuff. I think that's one thing why people like my podcast so much is because I have a personality a little bit and can have good conversations with people. And you don't get enough of that out of Pokemon. And like you said, being like there with you guys on that trip and wherever you were going, whatever packs you were getting, and that, you explained how you guys kind of split packs and split purchases up with each other. You see there's an honest, good friendship there, and you could see how happy you were for each other when you pulled that Gold Star Rayquaza or...
I wasn't happy you pulled it. I was excited, but I was so mad. Those were those were the ones I Western Unioned. The Team Rocket Returns and the Deoxys. I sent a guy in California. He's like, I can only take Western Union. I'm like, Tor, I'm about to lose like $200, but let's just try it. And I stared at those packs for like a year, maybe. Yeah. I'm like, Tor, I came home last night and I opened the Team Rocket Return pack and pulled a Snorlax. He's like, oh, you did. I was like, all right, so we got to try this. Let's just weigh them. And even though they weren't complete boosters, they were like partially filled. And he hit the Rayquaza, and I was excited, but I was pissed it wasn't me.
He's like, don't move. I'll take a picture.
Yeah, that's always tough to go about that. Like when me and Swole Poke had those 2 first edition heavy packs, there was conversations beforehand of, let's just keep our own. Let's not split it. If we're going to open it, you get this pack, I'll get this pack. But when it came down to it at the very end, we split everything 50-50. So it was tough.
It was the right move.
Yeah, it was tough. But it was the right thing for us to do because, we still do business together and all that, and very good friends, obviously. So, but yeah, that friendship you guys had, and then, they're there wasn't anything like it, and there's, like we said, there's not ever gonna really be anything like it because you can't recreate that. It's just not really doable unless you get some rich kids that want to just spend their time buying huge Pokemon collections. But
Yeah.
Yeah. We try to recreate it now, but it is hard. And it does seem like most of the videos that do well, you got to be in front of the camera. You just can't sit behind the camera and then just like read the cards. Like, not most people don't want that, but if there's any new PokeTubers out there trying to get their start, get in front of the camera, do the split screen. Put your face in the corner or whatever you want to do, or just like do something different. There's a lot of just opening packs, and I feel like that was the glow of the channel when I had those packs going up. It was just me behind the camera, opening the cards. Even though they were great cards, I just wasn't like into it in the same way.
Yeah, and no one's gonna beat PokeRev. Let's just be honest. He's on another level.
Did admit that he did watch our channel before he started PokeTubing, but I mean, he probably deny it. But I got the receipts that he said it. But yeah, he's got that energy, that barbershop. That barbershop energy he brings to everything. I mean, I try to watch his breaks when I can. And we bought into his jungle break. He didn't pull us a hollow though, but he tried his best. But I mean, he can hype anything. I just love the energy. And that was like another thing I was going to ask you was twofold about like selling stuff, and you see the acceleration of the breaks. Like Rev is he's opening like 3 things a week, and PokeRadar now, and then the celebrities, and like what you think is going to happen to the break model, and if you think like most of the big sale, like it has for a long time, but like even like your 20 grand, 30 grand sales are mostly going to go through private third-party authentication and kind of just move off the public market. I just want to know what you thought, if that's the direction it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good friends with PokeRev, and we've talked about this because I've entertained of the idea of like have him doing some of my boxes. I mean, I only have like 3 now, but back when I had more. And as the prices were getting up, he was like, I think he started doing 2 vintage boxes a week, and now he's down to 1 because asking for that much money from people is tough. I don't think it's even anywhere close to where breaks are going to be. I think the sports market people that do breaks are going to get into Pokemon soon, so it's going to get even bigger.
They almost already are. I've been on a couple of break sites, and they're ripping Team Rocket first edition packs and stuff. They have no idea what they're doing.
Right. So honestly, that could hurt the Pokemon breaks because they don't have that knowledge. But more than likely, it's just going to keep going up and up. But with all the reseals that have been coming in, I think that also spiked the interest of people to do more breaks, just so they like knew for sure that they had real boxes and they could get the value out of it. I mean, I've even seen people open their first edition base boxes for their own sanity, and then they did the little TCA style and put tape over it with their signature on it, right? With that, all the fakes coming up, I kind of had the belief for, honestly, half a day that prices on sealed stuff was going to go down, but it's just doing the complete opposite, because more stuff's getting opened. People that have the real stuff are going to be getting a premium, or should be getting a premium. And it sucks because I love that stuff sealed. I mean, I do breaks myself too, but we're going to run out of things eventually. And
I'm wondering when it's going to happen.
I mean, there's a ton of unlimited base, jungle fossil, that stuff. There's a ton of it. I mean, people think there's hundreds left. No, there's thousands, maybe even tens of thousands.
There'll always be that new discovery. I look at it like, if I was going to buy a box, I'm like, not just first edition or base. Like, I'm to the point where it's like, I'm not going to buy this unless you break it and we go over it and check it. I feel like that's the level it's almost at. And I'm wondering how that impacts the value of a sealed box versus 36 loose packs, even though they may be together, right? Like, I just can't imagine having a box selling to somebody and it not being authentic and having nothing, you had nothing to do with it and you have no trace of where it came from, and just like you've lost whatever revenue. Like you got to give the money back if it's fake, right?
Right. And most people that are flipping probably spent the money afterwards, and now they don't have the money to refund.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge issue. I mean, from what I've seen from the reseals recently, I think it's just poor inspection. Other than PokeRev's Japanese Neo, which was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was watching that live.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I FaceTimed him after, him and Cool Trainer Ryan, and like, yeah, we were looking at the stuff, and we still weren't convinced that it was fake. Like it was so good. Definitely an old. I don't know what from where factory fake. From 99 2000. But the reseals that we've seen on WotC stuff, like the one from Dumb Money TV, like I could tell from watching it, I could see the flaps that were bent, like it was clearly opened at some time. These boxes that have the WotC wrap but have been filled with foam, that's, I think, just poor inspection, because you can feel that if you, people are so delicate handling boxes in packs. And I had that conversation with Ryan. You can be rough with these things. I mean, if you really care about a dent in your box, you probably shouldn't be buying in the first place. But you need to get a feel for it. You need to shake it around, hear it, listen to it, see what's in there. And I mean, if it's all packs with new cards in it or whatever, you won't know. But the ones with the foam in it, people should have known. You should be able to feel that. But yeah, it's scary especially for the type of money. I'm not buying a base set box for 30 grand. I don't even care if it is real. It's crazy.
I didn't even want to buy them when they went up to 800, because like it was only 300 before, and it's like it is a risk. That's like that's the set most subjected to it. It seems like in terms of like even faking it with resealing the packs. But I mean, just throw 2 packs on the top and make the rest whatever you want. It seems like that's what people are doing.
But there's a space open for a company to authenticate these things, but they're not going to do it unless they can open it and inspect it. So WotC wraps and original wraps on Pokemon would go extinct. No one's going to take the risk, put the legal responsibility to authenticate a sealed Pokemon box, because you can't 100% say unless you open it. But if someone were to open it, inspect the packs, weigh them, make sure there's 12 in there, whatever, and then reseal it with their logo on it, that could be the thing. I mean, again, I don't know how many people would want that, because it eliminates that factory seal technically, but I think there's room.
Yeah. I think the only way to like know is if people who've been sitting on, like Aaron, the Pokemon trainer, or my buddy Harry from the UK, that they've been sitting on their collections for 7 years or more, 5, 6, 7 years, that like, unless you're buying from someone like that, that's the only way you would be like, I'm pretty, 90% confident, 99% confident that these are probably all legit. Like they were, because the fakes weren't that prominent back then, and they've got collections to like really bring some to market, just if they ever sell. But just buying a one-off somewhere, it just seems, I keep telling people I wasn't even comfortable when I sold my Team Rocket first editions at like 5 Gs. I'm like, someone could just say that it wasn't real or that they never got it. Like I'm not big on selling stuff of that value, even on eBay. Like I want to deliver it in person and have a contract or something like that to protect all parties,
Yeah, like I mentioned, that was kind of the reason why I sold my sealed product, because of scammers saying that it was resealed or that they didn't get it. But I've opened the offer to buy back any box I sold in the past for the price that I sold it at. If people want to send it back to me.
How many fakers you get on
that? 0. But
just checking. I want to put that out there too. What we'll come up with.
It would have to be the exact same box, obviously. Because I would only purchase boxes from old stores, that old stock basically. But now today, things are getting so nuts. So many people are walking into these old stores with boxes. Now these stores are getting boxes from people I don't know. So I've stopped buying from them
Mm-hmm.
unless I, really inspect it. But even if I do inspect it, I can't be 100% sure now. So, yeah, it's a scary time to buy sealed product, and I hate that because that's where the money is. Especially, it will always be where you can make money breaking the box no matter what, because there's more buyers in that lower end buyer pool, and it'll never change.
Yeah, I think just that's the scamming has helped the breakers because there's an EV value there that is like we bought into your box last night. I said, and I was telling people they're like 250. I saw them for like 220 or 200 for unlimited. I said, you assume every single one unlimited on eBay if it's a one off is weighed.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been one, even if it's C&G Emporium, to trust anybody just because it's me. Like
Yeah.
you list all 36 packs, I don't trust that. If I buy 5, I'm even going to get a hollow, right? I don't like trust that break fresh thing. So I mean, there's an EV to be determined there with if you have authentic box that there's a value in the fair chance of having a heavy pack if you're not going to sell because the selling heavy packs and weighing them and like putting it on that eBay, I don't know when that started. It just must have started when the premium between a heavy and a light pack demanded, or someone was just smarter than us and said, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and sell the heavy packs, and then maybe like a year from now, I'll just throw up light packs and not make a comment about what they are." I'm sure that's what happened, but I didn't ever think it would get to like people selling, "Hey, this is heavy," or "This is."
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
been seeing people lately talk about, "Oh, your scale's calibrated different than mine," and they didn't get a hollow. So I was like, oh, "Here we go again."
well, yeah, there's never a guarantee. I've talked about this a lot. There's a pretty standard range of heavy and light packs for base, jungle, and fossil, but I've seen plenty of deviations of it. Like when Gary opened that first edition base set pack on the Steve Aoki Twitch charity event, that pack weighed 20.75, which to me is 100% light. But because that variation, that box he had was just like lighter cardstock or something, the lights were even lighter than that. So people, if they see that, will go on eBay, see all these packs weighing 20.7 that are probably light, buying it in hopes that it's heavy. So if you don't have that information and knowledge, there's a huge opportunity for either the seller or the buyer to take advantage of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I had a fossil box, every single pack weighed 21.5 or more. It was just a heavy cardstock. I could have sold every pack as heavy if I wanted to and made a ton of money.
Yeah,
but
no one would ever know.
Right, but I didn't. So because I didn't want to have to deal with that. So yeah, it's a scary thing for both sides of the market, because if you're selling as a heavy and the guy claims that he didn't get hollow, then eBay is going to side with the buyer, right? And it's just
eBay siding with the buyer keeps me up at night. It doesn't matter what the buyer does.
Right. It's the most stressful, stupid thing in the world for them to do something like that, especially when they see clearly a Pokemon seller with 100% feedback. Like, come on. But again, sometimes it happens, and you don't know. I've sold a pack that I thought was heavy and it ended up being light. I just refunded the guy. It happens. But yeah, that started not too long ago, and it's kind of just the way it has to be, I think. And people have to make the purchase based on their best knowledge and can't take a guarantee for what it is.
Yeah, it's I can see it coming with where it can be done is like, here's my box, I got it from this person, and like you're almost like having a documented chain of custody on these things, like publicly kept at some point. And I think there's an opportunity there for someone to like try to be that, I don't know, person to like authenticate and say, all right, PokemonRadar got it from this person and they've had it for this many years, and just put that lineage together and like build a premium into a box in that aspect. Like I was watching those Dumb Money live vlogs, and they were like, well, this person got it from this person and they've had it for this many years, and trying to build the authenticity or the legitimacy of that this is going to be real, right? So I think that's another EV on the other side that can be added to people's offerings if they have that kind of information.
Yeah, I mean, I would again, I don't think any company will ever, or any person, any individual will put that risk on themselves. So
Yeah.
I truly believe the only way to do that, I would make a wrap with my Pokemon Radar logo. People would send me boxes. I would open, inspect it, and then wrap it,
Hmm.
seal it in my wrap. Like that would be
Yeah.
whatever company, that would be the way. And I don't know how people would feel about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've had people that I sold to, 2 years ago say, hey, can I, be sure to have your name attached to this box that I bought from you? And I was hesitant because I was like, no, I don't know what you've been doing with it. I don't know if you have multiple boxes, if you're selling someone a
Hmm.
different box and saying that my name was attached to it. Because after I let it go, we're done. Like
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. There's no
Especially 2 years ago, I
Hmm.
I can't trust you. If
warranties up.
right, exactly. So it's such a weird time to deal with that stuff. And I am, again, I go back and regret selling for so cheap, but I'm also like, okay, thankfully I'm done with this. I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
But
You're I mean, the value is can be better on sealed, but you're at the point where your risk is, equating higher than where if you're investing in trophy cards, like you said, you're moving into
mhm.
there's, I mean, the chances of somebody getting fake and getting it graded and having that, you know, that limited of a card, like a new one pops up, you listed the people that have them, right? So you're moving into a high value item that to me has less risk than compared to when you compare it to some of the other things that can go on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I've been buying a lot of PSA, and then I sit here or cards to go to PSA. I'm like, well, I probably could have bought a couple first edition gym boxes, but then I'm like, well, if I did, are they real? Or what's my risk associated with that?
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, if everything goes through PSA, there's no argument. This is the grade. It's authentic card. Like someone breaking it out and saying this is not a real card is like, you know,
Hmm.
that's not going to happen. So I think people need to evaluate that when it comes to what they are buying.
Yeah, and PSA cards are much easier to store. You can potentially scale off of them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's authenticated by a third party that has well, only PSA has the financial back, and the other guys don't.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I like all three companies, CGC, Becca, and PSA, I send certain cards to specific places, but they're getting authenticated, and there's no conversation
Do you,
of
do you see PokeRev breaking the boxes prior to selling the packs and to say he's authenticating them and doing his own kind of seal? Or is he still going to just not saying he's going to hit a run of fake boxes? And you probably know better than we would have. What is he pulling out of what he's had and what is he getting for other people and all that detail? But like,
mhm.
I feel like he has the trustability level to just say, hey, I already opened this and it's legit. And I did it because I have to check because I can't go on YouTube and even though people are watching him open
Yeah,
a maybe fake box, it's just at some point is that a negative or you were talking about you resealing it and putting PokemonRadar. I just feel like he has that clout at this point to
hmm,
probably pull that off
hmm,
and still keep the trust that he looked it over.
yeah. I mean, I think just for his own protection, though, doing that live, he handled that Neo box really well. They got their money back for it, or him and Cool Trainer Ryan, whoever bought it, I forget. Um, but uh, I mean, to him, I don't think there's any risk if he opens up that box. He just, kind of wastes his time. That's his only risk. He has to refund people and be done with it, or pull out one from his back stock that he might have and do
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, with the amount of boxes that PokeRev has, I'm sure he has a reseal in there somewhere. If there
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, he dealt with a first edition reseal early on base set, but yeah, I don't really know all that he has or whatnot, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't doubt that he'll come across another one. It happens. So doing it that way, I think would just open up too many negative conversations. Even though he
Yeah.
does have that respect and that clout now, but just from a since he's got such a large audience now, the people that don't really know him like that or understand what he's doing will just bring too much negativity to it. So
Yeah.
I think he should just
I
keep doing what he's doing.
yeah. That makes sense, especially because we're not to the point where boxes are scarce enough that he's, to keep it going in the same aspect. Like he's not making deals that could be, lead to a run of like scams, right? But I see there could be possibly other people that are trying to be breakers, or not necessarily PokeTubers, but other people that just like a dumb money live incident on a grand scale where like tons of like big pages like that are just stuff's just going wrong everywhere. And
if there's too much of that, I think there's going to be some negativity, some repercussions to the prices, or in the opposite way, where people start getting paid more for their name. Because those guys had no idea what they were doing. I knew that. I'm surprised that Leonhardt joined that, being affiliated with that one guy. I mean,
I give him props for going, and I gave the guys doing it props for finding a Leonhardt, and then they brought in PokeRev, so like they didn't know, but they were trying, I guess, to cover the bases. But
and they're doing it all for charity, which is phenomenal. So, but yeah, you get these rich guys throwing money around and not doing any research on it. It's just kind of tacky, low class to me. I mean, but hey, they're doing it for charity. It's an incredible thing. I'm happy to have them in the Pokemon
they have that
community.
shield up of charity that you can't really say anything negative. And plus, if something goes wrong, it doesn't matter, right, on that level, because it's still content.
Yeah.
Like, if this started flooding right now on the video, it would go wrong, but it'd be good for your podcast. If I had a flood event on here, like if my sprinkler system started going off here in the house.
Don't you?
Yeah, I have
the irrigation.
It's a townhouse, but they have it. Yeah, I'm going to put a cap over that so the water doesn't come out of the wall. But that would be bad. But bad things are good for viewership, right?
You just got to be ready for it. You got to have the channel built on it. Make T-shirts.
I wish we were big enough to get haters. We never really got any haters ever. But I mean, PokeTubing was a lot smaller and a lot less toxic when we were really into it. But
I mean,
I don't think we had any enemies.
I've only got like 4K on Instagram. I got a ton of haters.
Well, were you doing raffles or breaks?
No, I was just, my prices were too high, I guess. Like, that's what people like. Me and Swolepoke had the very first heavy first edition base set packs on the market ever, ever.
So you were the one who started the heavies, selling heavies.
Me, TCA, yeah, kind of. Okay. I don't know if he was probably first, and I hopped on it, but.
Yeah. If you don't like the price, don't pay.
Exactly. I listed them for 5K. People were like, "You're nuts." Everyone was calling me out, Instagram stories, all this stuff, right? And then boom, I sold one, shut them up. And then now they're 25, 30K. Like, guys.
It's like a shade of gray between, there is like, people are leaving out the shades of gray of, you're either a never sell true collector, or you're a guru, and they don't let you be in between. And I enjoy seeing everybody's collections, but there are people who are literally like, you can't be anything in between. You cannot sell an item to buy another item and make money and cause the price to go up, but also enjoy it. And it's just like polarization getting lost in the message. Like I enjoy this more because I can sell stuff to buy other stuff. Like if I just always putting out my own money, eventually to me that would be exhausting. Like if I'm just constantly all I did was spend money on it and I never sold anything, like that's part of the transaction of the market. But there are people who are like, they're true collectors. They're never going to sell. They don't care if they make billions of dollars, and they're complaining. It's like a bad look of, people are always after athletes and what they make, but they're like, I became a billionaire this year from Pokemon, but I'm upset the prices went up and put out all the collectors. And it's like, all right, then why don't you open a Leonhardt store and sell it for 2015 prices and make the price go down? And they don't, it's just, right. You just got to ignore those people who are after you for, doing it the way you do it. Cause you clearly are, you're wearing a gym leader shirt, you're rocking the podcast, and like you're doing all this stuff, and they'll still question your sincerity, even at the levels that we're at when we're not a guru or a Logan Paul. They still will be like, oh, you just care about profit and all that.
Yeah, people label me as one of the biggest flippers, and I flip, but I would consider myself like the most centered person like in the entire hobby. Like when you mentioned that,
Middle
like
point, yeah.
yeah, like politically, I feel like I'm just dead center.
And if you watch any of Scott's videos, there's so much that goes on that those people that are judging like the public market have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about people calling them red and blue and green when they talk about Charizard, and they've been around for 15 years in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Those people don't care about Pokemon. They've only cared about the collectability, exclusivity, and potential return.
Yeah.
So they can, but you get punished for being so out open with it and being part of the marketplace, and you're actually helping the community. Where someone on the back end with that kind of money who's private, they're helping maybe the volatility in terms of bringing price up, but they're not building new fan. They're not they're not improving the community in terms of growth. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like the Gold Star Umbreon. I put the first one on eBay in like 2 years. I mean, I had it up for 5 minutes before somebody wanted to buy it privately. But
yeah.
I made these cards available to people.
What did you grade out with that?
A 9, a Beckett 9.
I think the only one I ever had was a 7. You said Umbreon or Espeon?
Umbreon, the play promo, the Japanese one.
Okay. That's the Gold Star version? That's the Japanese Gold Star?
The Japanese Gold Star. There's only like 23 in PSA Pop Report.
I've only ever had the English version. I've never had the Umbreon. I've had the Espeon. And even in English, though, those are tough to get off here.
Yeah.
That's a much rare
card. The Japanese ones are hollow. The English ones aren't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, the Espeon and Umbreon Japanese are like stupid rare.
Mm-hmm.
Like I paid $20K for the Umbreon raw from Japan.
Did you private sell it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can tell us or don't tell us what you sold for.
I want to get another one, so I'm not going to say the price yet, even though that's probably enough information for people to just hop on it if they do see one.
Charizard's already gets so much hate. He always talks about because he publicly states what he buys things for, and people are so scared that that's going to affect the market. And
well, with something like the Gold Star Umbreon play promo, it would, because there's so few of them.
Yeah.
And there's a decent amount of interest for it, so it would affect the price.
Yeah. Those private sales,
but yeah, Scott's the biggest flipper of us all. He just doesn't sell the big stuff. Well, sometimes he does, but
play his hand on everything he's buying. He gives his thoughts, and he's not going to say I'm buying all this because he's loading his position up. It's all a game.
Yeah, I mean, most of us are running this as a business, either a side hustle, main hustle, whatever. And it's just a matter of how you portray yourself. And yeah, like you said, I'm open and honest about it. I enjoy it. I love being able to flip because I'm able to handle cards that I would never be able to hold on to. Yeah. So like just the fact that I got to own a play promo Umbreon for 2 weeks, like I'll have that forever.
Did you take a selfie with it or
no?
Okay, you should probably start doing that.
Yeah, that's all right. It's already shipped out. But I got that's the beauty of Instagram. Like if you scroll through my Instagram, it's like millions of dollars of stuff.
It's like a little road. Yeah, that's why we sit around and watch our old videos. Like we're pretty petty when we do that. We're like, let's watch this video and cry. Like, I was complaining about pulling base set hollows and packs for $15, and I'm like, I lost $12 because this hollow's $3. And like, what? What was that? What were we doing? I just, we didn't even weigh them. And I'm like, Tor, we're gonna just lose money doing this, but let's. Yeah. And I complained the whole time.
Yeah, it was
great.
Swole Poke and I watch our pack opening probably once a month. Him getting the Venusaur, me getting the Charizard. I mean, yeah, again, I sold that thing and I regret it, but I'll always have that experience, always have that video to go to. So that's what I really care to have,
Just never regret profit, right? It may not be as much, but anytime you sell stock or anything like that, you're like,
well, yeah, people always, every time I say that, people always say you should never regret anything. But that's the one, because everything else I'm okay with, whatever. But that one, nope, sorry guys, I'm regretting it. I pulled that thing and I sold it. Why would I do that?
Yours was your base set for 7, and I think mine now is growing on me more. I watch old videos. Is the Skyridge Charizard in 10, even though that's still a relatively achievable card to get. It's just like I should have never.
More. That's like $20K, dude.
I mean, relative to the base at 10, I'll never buy that. But I could, if I really wanted it, I could go get it again. But it just, I'm like, why did I ever sell that? the vision there of like how rare Skyridge was still not super clear to us. Even though we were trying to always get Aquapolis and Skyridge packs, I never was like, I still thought there would be enough of these found that this pop of this Charizard would keep going up and not like it wouldn't be so scarce like it is now. I never saw PSA cards in that aspect of being scarce. I didn't ever think there wouldn't be the market turning them over that you couldn't even, because it's not even now about affordability. It's just, can you find it for sale in a lot of aspect? And that fear comes across me on a lot of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that I just like, I don't know how I missed out on it. Like I was in Japan for the release of the Scream promos, right? I went to the museum, got the Mimikyu for myself, saw that it was one per person behind the cash registers. People, if you weren't going there for the card, you probably didn't know about it. And I saw how rare it was for that Mimikyu. I should have bought every single one that was on eBay for $50, $100. Every single one. But because I got mine for $5, because I bought it at the shop, I was like, I can't do this. But it was clear that those were going to be the most expensive Scream promo. And yeah, I just missed out on it.
We've never touched one of those.
No.
Discord, one guy in Discord, he hammers those all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are you getting these from? And he'll pay almost whatever price he can if they're like mint condition. He just has that vision on stuff. And sometimes we get tunnel vision on just like you said, what did I pay before, and not seeing the back end future. Like like a lot of PSA cards that I was actually keeping, I never should have sold, just because you just assume that there's always going to be more, and there's not. Or no, there's this. I just wonder how many, like, what percent you go on Pokemon, you type in Pokemon cards, there's like 1 million listings, whatever it may be. What percent of like actual value collectible items are just not in any kind of market function as a whole? It's just beyond me, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, now I just collect Dragon Ball Z because that's all I can afford personally. And
hey, I've got some of that stuff. It looks like you're getting like the older sets. I've got all the stuff I have is like the newer draft boxes. I just buy those because I like the way they look. They're kind of the same size as the Pokemon Japan Center boxes, and then when you turn them on their side, you turn one on the side, you make a little art set.
Yeah, I saw that video. I still watch your stuff, but
that's all right. If you can't catch them all, that's fine. Video every day.
It's similar for the old ones.
Is it? Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, that's cool.
On that, don't show me this. I'll be on eBay tonight.
Sorry, I buy them all, so good luck.
You buy them all? Well,
I try to.
Yeah.
I truly love it. Like, and I don't understand why they're cheap, because there's not that much of it.
One day it'll get there.
I mean, you know, these are like $800 a box. This is unlimited. No, I can't find the limited. I don't own one, but.
Fort was not a Dragon Ball kid, but I am a Dragon Ball kid and adult. Like, I loved watching Super every episode.
Yeah.
English and Japanese.
I tried getting to the Super cards, and it was too busy for me, so I just do the old stuff.
Yeah. They're a little more plain. I had the Tournament Power, and I flipped those. But I opened 2 boxes, and I had stuff certified for grade, and I never did it. I think they'll maybe hit their stride more if they kind of focus in on some of those. Less about what's all on the tax. Like, it's a little more simplicity to those really nice hits from the case, from that set. I think if they focus in more on some of that, they could really start bringing in like people who just want to handle product and not play the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, the foils are beautiful in this. It's purely snapshots from like the anime, so like it's just super nostalgic for me. I mean, I keep pushing this hard. Like, I own a decent amount. I probably have like 15 boxes.
And that's not a playable game, right? It's just like
no, it is.
It's playable.
It is playable.
Okay.
It's just a shitty game. That's why it died.
But there are some sets that are just like your tops version of Pokemon, like, right? It's just artwork stuff.
Yeah, and there's an endless amount of Japanese stuff. Like, I think they're still printing new, like the Bandai card ass stuff. It's just a ton of it, and I don't understand it. I don't want to, because I'll go broke. I mean, it's really cool looking prisms and whatever, but I'm not messing with that.
Gotcha. Well, how did we do on the podcast today?
Well,
it's our first duo. Like if a duo comes on and beats us, we want to come back on and try to beat them. I mean, you got my best story out of me, but we're gonna make some new ones.
Yeah, good.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah. I mean, we hit about hour 40 here. We'll be able to cut it up, take out some of it when Tort left.
Yeah.
You just ran away, and I was like,
well,
I was trying to talk, and
I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, but I just kept talking. I'm like, I got to take a break here at some point because you aren't going to come back.
But no, I thank you guys for coming on. Again, I was a fan of you guys early on, and happy to see you guys back. And it's fun to. I like that you're re-releasing the old videos. I think that's a great idea for people to see.
I'm glad you are, because some people were kind of questioning like, how old is this video? But I don't know. I feel like.
I mean,
if you're a new sub, you might enjoy it, and you're never going to find it unless I bring it back to you like that.
Right. I mean, what the last one you did was the $125 box, right? You just titled it like it happened yesterday, so that was the confusion.
Yeah,
a little clickbait.
I maybe put a little hashtag Flashback Friday in the end of the title or something.
Something like that, just create.
I want you to click it, but I also want you to get the context that it probably is.
Create a separate playlist or something on your YouTube channel for them, like Throwback Thursdays or Flashback Fridays.
Yeah.
Put them in there. But yeah, no, I knew exactly what it was when I saw it. I was like, $125 to $100,000. Okay, guys, come on.
That was my favorite set, man. I've got cards that I just sold an auction that are still from that line.
Wow.
PSA 10, couple Neo Genesis cards.
Okay.
Just put those out there. So we are still making money off it.
Nice.
But the main reason I did it because there was 2 videos on another channel that we tried to start like a network one with like multiple PokeTubers, and they were up there, and I'm like, I want to get them all on our channel as one video and just
wasn't that like
have it in one place.
10-part video or something?
At least 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty large.
It was long.
But yeah, keep those coming out. I like revisiting them. Maybe steal that video from Trainer Tony and get it up on yours.
I'm gonna report it so it gets taken down. I've never even watched it. I was too scarred. He only told me about it. I've never clicked it.
You've never? Wow.
He showed me a clip. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
All right, I'll just have to do a reaction video and you'll watch it.
We should do a reaction video. I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks again. Like, I appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. I might have to show off my collection inventory list one of these days like you did. I think that's interesting. Although doing the sales will be painful to me. So,
yeah. I
think people would love that if I did, here's what I sold in 2018, 19 or whatever, and what it's worth today. I don't really want to look at that, but it might be an interesting video.
Yeah, people love that stuff. Like, Scott just reads them off, like what he sold that month, and people love to just hear it. He doesn't type it up, he just reads it, and people love seeing that.
Yeah.
I did get a lot of good feedback on being transparent with the collection stuff, but it's going to get too much. I'm trying to thin it down, like try to come up with some kind of standard average or something to like make it easier to manage all those PSA cards.
But yeah, nice to meet you guys. Appreciate you hopping on and doing this call.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It was cool talking to you.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk soon, and if you want to do that reaction video, I'm down to meet it too.
maybe the next round on the pod, we'll go back and relive it.
All right.
Just in case you want to see it. All right.
Cool.
See you.